It wasn't really until these sort of events started, so Kaleidoscope started to do all these things and other events that I've done, then I've really got to understand what the show meant to the audience and how important children's television is as a whole, because, and it's a great shame we don't make more, British stuff now.
Almost every child has a classic TV show they loved growing up. It taught them lessons and was like a best friend that they longed to come home to and spend time with. British children of the 70s and 80s had a few great choices. Inigo Pipkin, later just known as Pipkins, was one of the best. Keep watching to learn why Pipkins got cancelled and how it lives on today. How Pipkins Began. Pipkins was originally called Inigo Pipkin. It was a popular British preschool series that ran from January 1973 to December 1981. Britain was attempting to compete with America's uber-popular Sesame Street. The Independent Broadcasting Authority commissioned 4 of the major ITV network companies to provide a series for preschoolers. Thames Television gave them Rainbow. Yorkshire gave them Mr. Trimble. Grenada gave them Hickory House. It was ATV that gave them Inigo Pipkin. The show premiered New Year's Day 1973. The main character was an elderly puppet maker named Inigo Pipkin, played by George Woodbridge. The show's puppets were his creations that he helped bring to life. Many characters were brought to life throughout the show's run by expert puppeteers. Hartley Hare and George the Tortoise were played by Nigel Plaskett. Topov the Monkey, Pig, and Octavia the Ostrich were played by Heather Tobias. It's also one of the first British children's shows where all the characters had regional accents. These included Birmingham for Pig, Cockney for Topov the Monkey, French for Octavia the Ostrich, Upper Class English for Pigeon, Geordie for Mrs. Penguin, West Country English for Uncle Hare, non-regional English for Sophie the Cat, Northern Irish for Mooney the Badger. The goal wasn't to make the puppets look perfect, and some modern audiences have even found Hartley the Hare frightening. Nigel admits this was done on purpose. He said, quote, "They were intentionally made to look tatty because that's what happens to children's toys. So it wasn't an accident, and it wasn't, oh, we found this old puppet, let's use it. The tattiness was designed into them because we wanted them to feel like they were much-loved toys. It worked. The cozy atmosphere of the show could appeal to anyone of any age." A tragic change. Inigo Pipkin did well, but a sudden tragedy forced it to change forever. George Woodbridge died of a sudden heart attack in March of 1973. He'd been filming episodes of the second series, but they weren't filmed in order. Only the later episodes were finished. The ones he hadn't been able to record were rewritten. His character was said to be on a fishing holiday at first. Then Pipkins did something that was a first for children's television across the world. They even did it 9 years before Sesame Street's famous Mr. Hooper episode. The show wrote George's death into an episode. The puppets were guided and helped guide young audiences through the experience of loss and grief. It was made clear that Mr. Pipkin's love and teachings would endure. They even did a similar episode about losing a pet called Death of a Goldfish later. From then on, his assistant Johnny, played by Wayne Laria, took over for him. The show's title also switched to Pipkins. The focus of the show also changed. It was no longer about life in a puppet workshop. The characters turned into help people. They went around assisting anyone wherever and whenever they needed it. There were other changes as well throughout the show's run. The main role changed often. When Johnny left in 1980, he was replaced by Peter Potter, played by Paddy O'Hagan. There was also a new character added later into the show's run. Sue Nichols played the Pipkins' neighbor, Mrs. Muddle. Despite her name, she was always a calming presence. The set changed during the episode Moving Out in 1979. The familiar workshop was replaced with a traditional kitchen and backyard. It had to be built from the ground up so that puppeteers could still work standing up and move around freely. In another connection between Sesame Street and Pipkins, it was modeled after methods used on The Muppet Show. Why Pipkins was cancelled. Despite the popularity of Pipkins, there were no spin-offs or attempts at merchandising. No toys or games were ever made. There's no clear reason why, but it could have been a subtle hint that its end was inevitable. Pipkins was cancelled in 1981 after 333 episodes and 10 series. The choice was made primarily due to network restructuring. ATV lost franchise for the Midlands ITV region. The network later became Central Independent Television. They had to make changes to their programming. That meant dropping Pipkins. It was also replaced by another children's show, Let's Pretend. The lost episodes. Nigel's a technology nerd. He attempted to use all the latest technology while filming Pipkins, but it wasn't always enough. In one interview, he said,
I was aware that by then we had the home recording machines anyway. About halfway through the production of Pipkins in 76 and 75, 76, they started to bring out the old Philips recording machines. And because I was a first adopter of everything tech, I bought one and recorded a lot on the old Philips, which I no longer have, unfortunately, but so I'd probably lost a few there.
Losing a few is a bit of an understatement. Their ATV master color videotapes and 16mm black and white film copies weren't properly preserved. That, unfortunately, means that many Pipkins episodes are lost forever. Only 135 of 333 episodes have survived. The very first is among the casualties. 197 of the other missing episodes don't exist anywhere in any format. Only 2 have been saved in incomplete 625-line PAL color copies. Nigel made off-air video cassette recordings of approximately 56 episodes. That's the only format they're available in, and some of them were used in DVD releases in the UK. Monty Co. Fans can rejoice that Pipkins has found a way to live on. 4 members of the original team signed on to make a spiritual successor. Nigel Plaskett and Heather Tobias worked the puppets. Susan Pleat and Gail Renard are the writers. Luckily, they were still friends and ready to work on a new show that honored the classic one. There was a bit of a lag while they shopped it around. Eventually, they ended up right back where they were before, but with exclusive rights over it all. That even included making merchandise, which they have this time around. Gail said that they started by raising the necessary funds and doing everything for themselves until a network finally got on board. As she put it,
and basically, we raised finance ourselves. We made it before we sold it and had no idea who we were going to sell to. And to our delight and amazement, the BBC were the first to make an offer. And, you know, we never dreamed that we'd end up back at the BBC. But when you make your own series, like we did, not only do you own the format, we own all the intellectual property and all the rights, including any merchandising, publishing, spin-offs. So you're investing in yourself and your company and your partners, but it's the most amazing fun.
they knew they wanted to make a show inspired by what they did before, but that fits with the style of the new millennium. The puppets and production values have changed while staying true to the original spirit. Everything's gotten more polished thanks to new technology, and there's a combination of voiceover and live action for them. Nigel says, quote, "It's not like animation where everything is drawn perfectly. In my view, one of the advantages that live action has over animation is that things are real and they look like you could touch them." The new show is called Monty Co. It follows Monty, a wallaby who runs a repair shop. There are other characters like Eddie the elephant, Lulu the teddy bear, and Gabriella the flamingo. Charlie Pickle, the Welsh terrier, was a late addition but has special significance. He was inspired by Nigel's real dog. Nigel and Heather are glad to be working with each other again. They met each other in college and have stayed friends ever since. He's also glad it shoots right down the road from where he lives, so he has a short commute. He's pleased with his writing team, saying, quote, "It's been great to work with them again. Susan was in at the beginning of Pipkins. She was the co-creator with Michael Jeans, and I suppose with myself and Heather. We've stayed in touch over the years, but usually just Christmas cards and the occasional phone call. So it was great to be able to get back together again, and I suppose it's on a different level." Monty Co. airs on CBeebies. The first series is also available to stream in the UK on the BBC iPlayer. Nigel is glad to know how much Pipkins affected a generation. He hopes his new show will do the same, saying, quote, "Having had that experience, even though I probably won't be around to experience the same thing with Monty, gives me a great deal of hope that we're doing these shows now for a whole new audience, who in 40 years' time will be looking back and thinking the same. That would be great, and it's something that I really appreciate about working for a preschool audience." Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite British children's show? Let us know in the comments section below.